It's just the thing with straight men, I think, come on, just tell the truth. Like, you've had an affair, just man up and say you've had an affair.
I made it nice. Going with the weird side. That's my opinion!
Okay, well, we got to get into this. I just watched the first episode of season 3 last night. I watched it with my neighbor, who's a huge fan. When I tell you the joy this girl had watching this show, she was like, ah!
Ahead of time as well.
She loves it. So season 3 is here. How are you guys upping the ante?
I think the biggest thing is there's all these twists. There's all these funny twists. And like even within the first, well, you know, there's been a 7-minute little trailer,
Yeah.
right? So I'm allowed to say it, but there's like suddenly, you know, there's this thing where you can bring this person in, but someone's got to go like 7 minutes in. So it's sort of like that. And I think that's the thing that a show like this, people study, and all these, you know, gamer ones that are, you know, the sort of people, they are kind of got this anal attitude about studying the game and all the things. And actually it's the producers who have been really good about kind of confounding that. But also I have to say that whole thing about people who are in like Survivor or what's the other one? Big Brother, that necessarily makes you better at the Traitors. It's not true.
Really?
But look at the people who've won.
What do you
Doesn't
think
make
the
sense.
secret is to winning?
I mean, it's so arbitrary. I mean, it really is, because you can be doing a really great game and then, you know, something happens and you're out. I think it's mostly about I mean, it's actually how you maneuver life, how you deal with when you decide to be noisy and to use your voice, and when you decide to hang back.
Yeah.
And trying not to go mad, because that's what happens. It is like this sociological experiment where they're in this bubble and they're away from everything, and all they can think about, they become obsessed.
Yeah.
And like we do too. I mean, the thing is, we're all obsessed with this show, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I'm shooting it, I'm absolutely obsessed. Absolutely obsessed.
Yeah.
So I think it's this thing about obsession, and I think that the way to get through it is to try and just, if I were them, I would go to the, you know, back to their rooms at night and sort of meditate or something and try and not think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you're very devilish. You are very devilish on this show.
What do you mean?
You play a lot of mind games. When you are kind of stirring the pot,
yes.
does that come to you in the moment, or do producers give you these ideas?
Sort of a combination. Yeah, we talk about. I mean, there's obviously scripted bits that I'm going to say, and we write those ahead of time, and then I get them in my ear. It's so great. It actually is interesting for my, you know, as I enter my dotage, I'm already got the being able to speak lines while someone does them in my ear thing down. So watch out, Angela Lansbury. But there's things you've got to sort of improvise in the moment, you know, when you're chatting. Yeah. And it's just actually a question of understanding what's happening in the game and what's all going on. And also, you know, researching the history of the contestants, because that's what's great about this season. I think there's several of them have got real beef from previous shows and things like that. And you know, I didn't really understand that until it was pointed out to me. And I love how much that's affecting the game. It's really clever. And also, like, you know, the way that Tom Sandoval, for instance, has just been, you know, vilified and has this big scandal. And there's a really fantastic sort of what's the word, kind of kismety symmetry thing happens that I can't tell you about. I just realised I can't tell you.
It's okay.
I'll tell you after.
You could tell me.
What,
you could tell me.
No.
You tell me now.
You won't put this on telly.
Just give me a little tea. Well, no, if I can't put it on
telly. You can't
telly.
put it on telly because it's not until...
Okay, Tom Sandoval, you mentioned.
Tom Sandoval.
Yes.
Charming boy.
Do we, as you said, he's been very villainized in the last few years by, you know, the court of public opinion.
Rightly so.
Rightly so.
Also, I just think, it's just the thing with straight men, I think, come on, just tell the truth. Like, you've had an affair, just man up and say you've had an affair. Don't make everyone, especially your partner, think they're, mad, and they're going nuts thinking of it. You know,
it's a horrible
and
thing
also
to do.
Don't have an affair when there's blooming 25 cameras around. You know, Rule 101.
Did you give this advice to Tom Sandoval on the show?
I did not. But if you're watching now, Tom, come to me. If you want to have an affair, come and ask me about it next time.
We need all straight men to go to the school of Alan Cumming
Seriously,
to get taught how to behave.
Seriously, I've seen so many, and it's actually, you know, because I feel it's it saddens me that men, straight men especially, are so bad at this. They will refuse to admit, I guess, what it seems like weakness and vulnerability by having to say they've done something wrong. And it does so much more damage to the, and obviously it makes a bigger schism than it would have otherwise. So if you just said, I'm so sorry this has happened, and, you know, or maybe we can get over it.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world necessarily.
It's right.
But they make it the end of the world by denying it and denying it and denying it and saying, it's you, it's you. So yeah, just do better. You're straight, do better.
Clip that. Clip that. I love it, Alan. So do we get a different side of Tom Sandoval on the show this season?
Yes, actually. I find him fascinating because, first of all, when watching episode 1, when they take their blindfolds off, he is like an osprey. Or do you have ospreys in America? Like a hawk.
Okay.
An eagle. He's like, they take the things off. He's like, and I was like, oh my God, he's like a sort of like a digital camera. It was insane. He's so on it and so sort of analytical. I find it fascinating. You know, he does very well in the game. I'll leave it at that. And I think he sort of came into it a little defensive because he knew that everyone was saying that. But there's one fantastic bit when he sort of misspeaks. And the thing he accidentally says has great relevance to his previous girlfriend situation, and it's hilarious because all the girls at the round table are like, "Oh, it's such a good moment."
He stuck his foot in his mouth,
He
as
put
he
his foot in
does,
his
as
mouth.
he does.
Yeah, and like there was all these, there was like all these women like, "Oh no, you didn't."
Yeah, Dylan Efron told us in an interview that he really butts heads with Tom. What goes down between them?
Well, there's a lot of boys butting heads, I have to say. But you know, there's a lot of, when the testosterone things levels are high like that, it kind of, I can't quite remember. It's all just sort of boys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Straight men.
Yeah.
Sorry to keep downing on straight men. There's some lovely ones, I'm sure, but these two, I mean, a lot of them all get.
Yeah.
But there's actually also really great beef between straight man and gay man as well, actually, at the round table. There's there's some really juicy stuff between the Bobs.
Yeah.
Various Bobs and Robs.
Bobs and Robs.
There's so many, and also that's the other thing, I wish, this is to the producers of the Traitors, can we have a season where there's not millions of girls with L at the end of their name? Trishelle, Rochelle, Michelle. There's just too many that sound nearly the same.
Listen, it's a lot for a host. I understand to remember all these names. I get it.
That's why we get the big bucks.
Exactly. So Dylan Efron also said that his biggest fear was not the physical competitions. It was sitting at a round table of housewives.
Oh, yeah.
So
they don't sort of pull any punches, those girls.
Right. How did they do? And why do you think housewives do seem to do well on this show?
Well, yes. Well, I think the thing is they understand drama. Like their whole show is about them going to lunch, right? Or having a glass of wine. And yet they have to make it drama fueled. So they inherently understand how to be good at TV and to be sort of, you know, and to create beef or, you know, vegan beef. And in doing that, they're more heightened than some of the other players at that. So they are a bit scary sometimes. Okay. They're also, quite a lot of the time, wrong about a lot of the information. So that can be frustrating for other players too. So they're not the sharpest knives in the cutlery set. Shall we leave it at that?
We love our girls.
Oh, we
love
them.
Our girls.
You know who I loved so much this season?
Who
I didn't know at all is Ayan from
She's a
Dubai.
riot.
Absolutely. She told me this, and sadly it was not in the show, but I'm going to tell you now, that in the re-interviews that we do before, you know, when we're deciding if they're going to be a traitor, she said to me that, you know, I said, why are you doing this? And she said that her son had gone to college, and so she was looking for new challenges and things like that. And she said, and I was going to go to an orgy, but orgies are very hard work. So I said, wait, you came on the Traitors instead of going to an orgy? And she went, it's a lot of work to go to an orgy. I was like, I know, believe me. So that's the scoop on Ayan.
What's more work, the Traitors or an orgy?
Apparently an orgy is more hard work than the Traitors. I guess it depends on the orgy.
That is true, absolutely. Your fashion. I mean, it is a lot of the reason we all tune in. What is your process, Alan, this season? How fabulous are these looks?
Well, I mean, there's sort of an inherent pressure now that we've got to keep good, upping the
Level
ante.
up.
Yeah, but it's sort of, there's a structure to it. That, they're sort of connected to the missions. The thing we've got this year is that I sort of have a look at breakfast, and then it's sort of augmented for the mission, and then it's kind of, slightly different again for the round table. So I like that. There's sort of various things on and off and bits, but there's some, and I've also, I wear them for a couple of days and then I go into something else. You forget. And also, I just forget things. But what was hilarious when I saw some of the, the first episodes, that my these ridiculous, like a cloak, a sporran that is the size of a small country.
Yes.
And there's one coming up that I just love so much. And when I saw some pictures of that they'd taken on the set, I mean, I look like the Pope, like a weird queer Pope, if you can imagine such a thing.